Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Sportsbook Confidential. My name is John Sullivan, and I'm coming to you live from the FingerLakes1.com studios in Seneca Falls, New York. And this little show here is to help you learn and grow as a sports bettor. And it's another Friday. We got a big weekend of football coming up. We're going to talk about that. We had our first week of NFL betting. It was so mixed results. We'll go over my bankroll in just a minute. Interesting game last night. The Giants lost to Washington 30-29, scored a lot more points than I thought were going to be scored. I felt like the Giants were going to score more than they did the 17 they scored last week. But I did not know what to expect from Washington. Their defensive performances so far concerns me a little bit. And I was very high on Washington preseason, and now I have to admit I'm a little worried after 2 weeks. But we still have, there's like 3 or 4 games in the NFL this week. I call them show-me games, where we're going to see what teams have to offer, I think. And I think like there's like 4 show-me games on the schedule this week. We'll talk about that. We're also going to talk about betting tools. I may have mentioned a few of these before, but there's basically like 3 betting tools that I use regularly that are easily Googled, searched, found on the internet that can help you find value in your wagers, decide if you're on the fence about making a wager, what might sway you one way or the other. And there's a new website that has some betting tools that I'm going to review. I'm not going to get deep into the ins and outs of it. There's like YouTube videos on how to use all the tools. And I'm not going to waste your time. If you're really into it, you can check it out yourself and do that. But I am going to show you what kind of stuff they offer so you can figure out if it's something you want to mess around with or spend time with. And then we're going to talk about, of course, the NFL this weekend. And I picked out some college games, and I'm going to review the CFL real quick because I think there's some value in the CFL this week. So, and of course, I'll have my picks at the end. So please, if you're interested in those, stay tuned till the end. So let's do what we always do and start by updating my bankroll. And you can see I started last week with a bankroll of $253. We had a bet size of $8. San Francisco, Detroit, over 45. It was 41 points total scored at halftime. That was the easiest sweat of the week by far. It closed at 46. Plus $8 to the bankroll, and then plus 1 to our count because we beat the closing line. Cleveland and Kansas City under 54.5. That was a loss. It was kind of looking good until the fourth quarter, and then Kansas City had 2 lightning-quick touchdowns, and those extra 14 points put it over. So minus 8 to the bankroll and 0 to the count because we tied the closing line. New York Giants plus 3. That was a loss, minus $8 to the bankroll. I thought the Broncos looked very impressive with Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback. Of course, they had Von Miller back on defense. I felt like their defense was aging out, and they really impressed against the Giants. We'll see how they do this week. But I think the Broncos are a very improved team. I did tie the closing line there, so 0 to the count. And then in college, I had Memphis minus 5.5. That was a loss. They had a 21-point lead in the fourth quarter, and they gave up 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions to win by 5. So lost my wager, but Memphis was comfortable and cruising towards the end against Arkansas State on the road. 0 to the count because the closing line was minus 5.5. There was a chance to get that at 5, so that's bad on me for not getting it at 5. But I'm impressed. They have a freshman quarterback, but I am impressed with that team, and I think they're going to surprise some people. So the new bankroll, if you do the math, minus $16, $237 is the bankroll. Dividing by 30, as we always do, makes the bet size $8 once again. Going forward, and hopefully we can improve our disappointing start to the football season. We do have hockey coming up in a month or so, and I'm very excited about that. So let's move on to betting tools. And let me talk about a few things before we get started. And I also have an example that I'm going to use that we can put into our betting tools so we can look at the data. So there are many websites available to bettors to help determine the value of your wagers. There's lots of stuff out there. Some of it's free and some of it's not. Whether it's worth a subscription or not, I'm not going to tell you one way or the other. That's up for you to decide. I will be concentrating on tools that benefit the beginning bettor and are free to use. So everything I'm showing you today is free to use. It doesn't cost anything. The last one I'm going to show you actually have to sign up for, but it's free to use. I am not endorsing any of the websites that I show you today. I'm just explaining how to use the tools. So if you find a tool on one website, it doesn't mean you should use it on that website. You can find the exact same tool on another website. And it's just up to you where you want to use it and how you want to use it. And then for using the tools that I'm going to show you today, I'm using the data from Sunday's Buffalo Bills game. The Bills are the visitors, -3. The total's 47.5. And Bills are -170 on the money line. The Miami Dolphins, on the other hand, are the home team. They're +3. The over-under is 47.5. And on the money line, they're +150. So we're going to keep that data in mind as we go through our betting tool review here. So let's move along and take a quick look. Here's the betting tools that I've listed for you. And so the very first one I'm going to talk about is the odds screen. So let's start with that one. And I'm going to pull it up for you right now. And this particular website is Sportsbook Review. It's SBR Odds. I'm going to put it on the classic view. I like the classic view better for a couple of reasons. But let's put it on NFL only because you can look at all the different sports. So you can see here, they show you last night's game, the Giants game, in the score, and you can see the closing odds for that. You can do point spreads or totals, or for my personal preference, spreads and totals. I'm going to click that, and now you can see the spreads and the totals for each game. And did I not do it right? Spreads and totals? Yep, okay. So, for example, this Denver-Jacksonville game, you can see at Pinnacle, Denver's -6, and the total is 45 or 48, I can't tell. 45. So there you can see right next to that is our Buffalo-Miami game. I have it highlighted. You can actually, they usually, because you're looking at all the different sports books, it doesn't post the opening line. But if you click on one of these, like I'm going to click on Pinnacle and open it up, and you can see the point spreads, the money lines, the totals, where they opened and where they currently are. So you can, let me go down to the bottom here. So you can see it opened at 3.5, and now it's down to 3, and now it's back to 3.5. At this particular book, it's back to 3.5. The money lines, you can see where they started. 186, 166. Now it's 176, 158, so it's come down a little bit. And the total 48, where did it start? 48, it hasn't budged. So you can use this to determine whether whether the line has moved in your favor or not. If you're trying to beat the closing line, you want to look and see where the line was, which direction it's going in. Usually all the information is factored into the line. If there's some injury or something, the injury report came out last night, so that should already be baked into the line. But if you feel that public money is going to come in on Buffalo and the Miami line is going to get better and you want to bet Miami, you might want to wait for it to move. And then, of course, if you look at all the different books, you can. One of the nice features about this particular website is you can put your preferred sports books at the top up here, and you can compare the lines at all of your sports books. So you can see right now it's 3 or 3.5 for Buffalo and Miami, depending where you look. But if you're shopping for the best line, you can quickly see who has the best number. And that's very convenient for shopping, line shopping, and for seeing how the market has moved. If you want to see in the last couple of days what's been going on, that is what you want to check out. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do Kelly Calculator before the arbitrage calculator. So let's go to Kelly Calculator. And I have talked at some length about the Kelly criterion, and it's a formula for determining bet size based upon the expected value of the bet and how much, it's a mathematical formula to determine how much of your bankroll you should wager. And I use this more for a couple of different purposes than just to size my bet. So let's go to the Kelly calculator. And again, this is on Sportsbook Review, but I don't really care which Kelly calculator you use. They're all pretty much the same. So independent events wants, you need two pieces of information. You need the win probability of the event, and you need the odds. So if I'm going to start with, I'm going to use an example of the coin flip in the Super Bowl, which is usually, the odds are usually minus 115 on heads and minus 115 on tails. So the odds of the coin flip are 50-50. It's either going to be heads or tails. It's going to be one or the other. And at minus 115, that Kelly calculator is going to tell you how much you should bet on that. And if you already know the answer to this, it's going to be zero. The Kelly calculator is telling you there is no value in this bet. You play this bet 100 times, you're going to lose money over the long run. It is not a good bet to make. So that's just a very simple calculation. So with if we use the same example, well, not the same example, but if we use our football example, the Bills are on the point spread are minus 110, and the odds of winning on the point spread, let's just say, is 50-50. I don't really agree with that, but in this case, again, it calculates zero. It's saying if it's 50-50, then it's zero. So now let us do a money line example. Okay? We're going to go back to our Buffalo-Miami money line. And the Miami money line is, well, let's do the Buffalo money line first. The Buffalo money line is minus 170. And we need to delete that other one. Okay. And the win probability. So if it's 50-50, which it's not, obviously Buffalo's favored to win this game. It's still zero. Well, what if Buffalo is 60-40 to win? Is this a good bet? According to Kelly Calculator, it is not. What if it's 70% to win? Is it a good bet? Yes. Now, if the Kelly Calculator is telling you that if you ran that bet 100 times, your expected return is 2.1%, average return on each bet of that magnitude. Expected growth 1.1% of your bankroll. So at 70%, if Buffalo is 70% to win this game, minus 170 is a good bet. So the big question is, how do you determine if Buffalo is 70% to win this game or not? I don't have that answer for you. I don't have a model that is good enough to predict money line winners. I know who's favored, but I don't have a certainty of percentage. There's a lot of variance involved. Weather's a factor, injuries a factor, suspensions, refereeing, all kinds of things, just in general variance. So let's do the other side. Let's do Miami. Miami is plus 150. Okay. If there was a 50-50 coin flip to win the game, is that a good bet? It should say, yeah, it's a super good bet. It's almost an expected 5% return. It's 4.166. Expected growth 2.06% of your bankroll over time if you made that bet multiple instances. But what if it's only 40%? Is it a good bet? The answer is no. What if it's 42%? The answer is yes. Barely. You're going to average 16.16 of 1% on each if you wagered that wagering opportunity multiple times over a long period. But it does have very, very slight expected value, probably not enough to risk significant amounts of money. But what you can do with the Kelly calculator is determine whether your bet has value or not, and number two, get an idea of how much you should wager. If your starting bankroll is 100% of your bankroll, it is saying wager a full Kelly wagers 3.33% of your bankroll in this instance. If you're doing half Kelly, it would be half of that. If you're doing quarter Kelly, it would be a quarter of that. If you're doing 10% Kelly, it'd be 10% of that. So 3.33% is basically 1/30th of your bankroll if you split your bankroll into 30 pieces. So that's kind of that's where I'm at with my bankroll strategy. I divide my bankroll into 30 bets, and I wager one unit, which is 1/30th of my bankroll. So the Kelly calculator is definitely something to have handy. So now I'm going to do the arbitrage calculator, and let's go back here for a second. And the arbitrage calculator, for those of you who are not familiar with the term arbitrage, it's an example where you can wager both sides of an event at a profitable outcome. So, for example, let's just say I got the Yankees at minus 105, and I got the Red Sox at plus 125. And then I could calculate in the arbitrage calculator. So you can see if I wagered $100 on the Yankees at minus 105, I would wager $86.77 on the Red Sox at plus 125. So both bets would be $186.77. I would guarantee myself one bet would win and one bet would lose. I would guarantee myself a profit of $8.47, and the profit would be 4.5326%. Now, that's not a huge arbitrage, and it's very hard sometimes to find arbitrage opportunities on a single game. However, when I use this calculator, it's usually to calculate a future on a hedge. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not on the page there. So there's the example of the Yankees and the Red Sox. Yankees at 105, the Red Sox at plus 125, the Yankees at 105. And there's the results. Bet number two, you wager $100 on the first bet, $86.77 on the second bet, and there's your profit, and there's your percentage return. So when I do use the arbitrage calculator, it's usually when I'm hedging a future. So let's say the Bills get to the Super Bowl. Now, I've put $100 on the Bills to win the Super Bowl at 12-1. So the Bills are in the Super Bowl, and they're playing the Packers. So the Bills are in the Super Bowl at plus 1,200. I bet $100, and the line is plus 1,200. And then they're so the payout of that would be $1,300. It would be $1,200 profit plus my $100 I invested. So the line on the game, the money line on Green Bay to win the game is minus 150. So we're going to say that Green Bay is the favorite in this game at minus 150. So then all we do is hit calculate, and it's going to tell us, okay, if you put $780 on the Packers in the Super Bowl, then your total bet would be a total bet of the two wagers would be $880. Your profit would be $420, and your rate of return would be 47%. So I could hedge my Super Bowl future on the Bills by betting on their opponent in the Super Bowl, which in this case was Green Bay minus 150. Now let's just say the Bills were the favorite and Green Bay was the underdog at plus 150. Then we do that calculation, and boy, oh boy, that would be something. Our total wagers, $520 on Green Bay. The profit would be $680, and percentage would be 109% return on your total wagers. That would be fun if that were the case. So the reason why this calculator is handy is if you need to hedge a bet, you can go there and you can get out of it real quick, and you can calculate it, and you can go place your bet and get out of, hedge your bet if you want to. You don't want to let your futures ride. Now, last year, if you watched the show, I had a couple of futures I let ride, and they blew up in my face. So I'm very interested in hedging this year. So for my last, I'm going to go to what we call intermediate tools, and I'm going to show you a website called unabated.com. And once again, I'm not endorsing this site. The site is brand new. I have looked at it. I have signed up for it. It is free to use. It may not have tools that you find useful, and they are updating their toolbox, so to speak, their selection of tools. And I want you to take a quick look. You can see at the top of the screen they have a line comparison tool, which is like the SBR odds I showed you, the line shopping tool. So they have that available. And then they have futures market. This is basically everything on this site is really just restricted to football right now. But you can see there's line comparisons on divisions, conferences, and Super Bowl. And then you can set up a simulator to design simulation of future games. They have a video that shows you how to do this. Again, it's limited to just NFL. And then they have a bunch of educational tools, survivor contests, using risk-free bets at online sports books, how to use the simulator, how to do teaser bets, mentality of professional gambler. I have to say that my knock on this site is that it doesn't talk about bankroll management at all, which I believe is the ultimate skill that a recreational grinder or a professional bettor needs. They need to have no leaks in the bankroll. But these are all valuable tools and videos that you can use. And then, of course, they have these trading tools. The hold calculator you can use to determine the hold on a bet, like if you put in the odds on both sides, like if it's 110 and 110 for the point spread, and you can minus 110, enter. The hold is 4.55%. So if you did the money line, minus 170, plus 150, the hold is 2.88%. So actually it's lower on the money line. You're paying less vig to the sports book. We've got the derivatives, alternate lines. So when you go to the sports book, the point spread in the Bills game, it's 3. But you can get 3.5, you can get 4, 4.5, maybe 7, plus or minus, depending which team you want. And you can use this alternate line to determine if you're paying more juice or less juice at a certain number. And I'm not going to go through all that. And then closing line value, for beginning and intermediate bettors, closing line value is very important. Beating the closing line is important. How much you're beating the closing line by, not important until you're really betting what I would call at the limits. You know, if they take $500 on college football, when you're at the point where you're betting $500 on college football games, then you want to make sure that you're maximizing your closing line value. So it's not necessarily that important, I think, for beginning or intermediate bettors, but you can use this tool to calculate the line you got versus the line it closed at to see if you've got closing line value. So that's another trading tool that's very valuable. So I think it's worth looking into, and if any of those things seem like they have value to you, go ahead and check it out. Get it while it's free. Learn as many lessons as you can. If somebody's giving away free lessons, how to improve yourself as a sports bettor, I would take advantage of that. But it's all for you to check out. All right. Let us get back to the weekend in football, and let us start with, oh, by the way, the last thing I wrote on here is spreadsheets. You should keep a spreadsheet of all your bets, including your line, the odds, the closing line, if you beat the closing line or not, if you won or if you lost. Keep a history. You've got to be true to yourself. So learn how to use Excel or keep a spreadsheet or a Google Sheet. There's some apps. There's one called Bet Analytics that I use to keep a record of all my bets. That's very handy because it's on my phone and I can just update it every day. But keep a spreadsheet. All right, on to football. Let's go NFL. Saints at the Panthers, plus 3.5, 44.5. I have the Saints as 7.4 favorites, 44-28. Boy, if you believe in the Saints after what you saw last week, you got to be on the Saints here, and you got to be on the over. My model says it's right where it's supposed to be, but it loves the Saints. And until they prove us wrong, I mean, it's a big letdown spot, of course, but, 3.5 is not a whole lot. Bengals at the Bears. Bears minus 2, 45.5. 0.72, 46.21. I really can't believe the Bears are favored by much in this game. The Bengals, if they're getting 3 or 3.5, I think people would hop all over that. As long as Andy Dalton's still playing, the Bears are going to struggle offensively. They had a very bad defensive game last week. They need to improve on that. We know the Bengals can score points. We just don't know if they're good enough to stop the Bears. Texans at the Browns, 12.5, 48. I have it as only 8.95 points and 48.62. I think the Texans are going to be competitive for the cover here. I would be all over the Texans at 14. I think they surprised a lot of people. I said they would be competitive against the Jaguars. I didn't think they would dominate, but I thought they would be a close game. And the line closed at 3, so you knew, they were 3-point dogs, so you knew that, they were going to be close. I feel like it's the same here. I feel like Cleveland doesn't score as many as they scored on Kansas City, and Texans don't score as many, so I kind of like the under here, but I feel like that's going to be a cover situation. Rams at the Colts. Colts plus 3.5, 48.5. I do like the under here. Rams have a good defense. The Colts struggled last week, and I don't think it's any easier for them this week. They probably get a better defense, the Colts are they're going to try to establish the run. I like the under here. Broncos at Jaguars. Of course, the Broncos are 6-point favorites. The Jaguars are in general disarray. Urban Meyer may have lost that locker room. That's what the rumor is. I have no idea if that's true or not. The model says there's going to be a lot of points scored, and I agree with that. I think you're going to look at, they scored 27 against the Giants. Broncos could easily score 28 to 31 points here. How many the Jags can score, I don't know. Bills at Dolphins. Dolphins plus 347.5. Josh Allen has absolutely dominated Miami's defense in his 3+ seasons, in Miami. He's done very well. Overall against Miami, whether home or away, he's done very well. But the defense from Miami is basically the same as it was last year. So maybe they found some things that Pittsburgh did that could help them, but I feel like the Bills have a bounce-back game here. It's lined to be under. The Bills have to show something defensively. And it's a show-me game for Tua. If he puts up 2 or 3 score, he throws 3 touchdown passes, I'll be very impressed. Patriots at the Jets. The Jets plus 5.5. If that got to 6 or 6.5, I think I might take the cover. This is going to be a grinder of a game. Both of these teams want to run. Zach Wilson is the better quarterback, there's no question. Mac Jones is going to be throwing short passes, Tom Brady-type passes to his tight ends. They don't have a lot of size at wide receiver outside of the tight ends. 49ers at Eagles. Eagles plus 349. This is a show-me game for both of these teams. Is the first half of San Francisco last week dominating Detroit? Are they going to be able to dominate Philly on the road? It's going to be tough to do it 2 weeks in a row. The Eagles dominated on the road in Atlanta. They have a much tougher opponent. They're up in weight class now. They're still getting points. If you believe these defenses are as good as advertised, then the under would be the play for you. I think the Eagles have a chance to win that outright. All right, let's see what else we got in the NFL. Raiders at Steelers, 6.5, 47. This does look like an over to me. The Steelers kind of shut down the Bills last week, at least in the second half. They completely shut them out. But the Raiders, I think, have more weapons, more ways to score points. Maybe Josh Jacobs is a little healthier this week, can help the running game. I feel like there's going to be more points scored on both sides. The Raiders put up 33 against the Ravens. I think they're going to put up at least 24 against the Steelers. So if the Steelers also can get 24, that's 48, and then you're over. Vikings at Cardinals. Cardinals minus 4, 50.5. Model loves the Cardinals here. Their defense is much improved. I think that's going to be a problem for the Vikings. Really like the Cardinals here. Falcons at the Bucks, minus 12.5, 51.5. I have it minus 11.22, 50.46. So I like the under here. Of course, the Falcons had trouble scoring points last week. This could be 31-7. It could easily go under. You look at, again, I wouldn't touch the Falcons until it got to 14. Cowboys at Chargers. Chargers minus 3.5 at home, 54.5. I have it at minus 1.7, 50.48. So it's pretty close to a pick'em game, and the Chargers do not draw very well at home. So the rumor is there's going to be a lot of Cowboys fans in SoFi Stadium, and it's going to essentially become a Cowboys home game. I do like the Cowboys plus the points here. They could win this game outright. This is a show-me game for both of these teams. I think the Cowboys showed me last week. The Chargers basically, they didn't have to really work that hard to get the win against Washington. Titans at Seahawks, minus 6.5, 54.5. Minus 5.75, 52.73. So model likes the under. The Titans gave up a lot of points last week. I don't think their defense is that bad. And I also think if Seattle gets ahead, that they will establish the run. And they prefer to eat the clock and run that way and do play action. So I do like the under in this game. The Titans got to show something this week. They got to show a little fight back. Chiefs at the Ravens Sunday night, plus 3.5, 54.5. I have the Chiefs as 4.31 favorites, 48.77. Again, the model loves the under. I think that the Ravens are a better defense than Cleveland, not by much. But they're better, I think, prepared to take the Chiefs. Plus, they have tape to watch. This game could go either way. Lamar Jackson is that quarterback that can take it to a next level at certain times. He did not have a great game against the Raiders, and he had that fumble in overtime. It should be a very interesting game to watch. And then Monday, Lions at Packers, minus 11.5, 48.5. That's down from 12.5. Minus 11.86, 52.19. So I do like the over here. And the Lions scored a lot of points in garbage time and ended up covering against the 49ers. I think that this team is going to be a cover machine because, number one, Dan Campbell is not going to, run the ball and run out the clock and say, we had no chance. He's going to keep running his offense out there and try to get better and better and better. And I think a lot of people are underestimating the Lions. They are not going to be a playoff team, but they are not going to be an 0-16 type team. I think they're going to be like a 5-11, 5-12, or 7-10 type team. They're going to cover a lot of games, and People have already hopped on the Lions here, but, at 12.5, 13, 14 points, I would definitely take the Lions in this game. Green Bay does have a lot, their fans are not happy. I could see Green Bay winning this game by 13, but I would not be surprised to see the Lions cover again. But I do like the over here, points being scored. So there you have the NFL. I got some college games I picked out real quick. Minnesota at Colorado. Colorado had a 10-7 loss at home against Texas A&M last week. Love the under here. Like Colorado to win this game. Minnesota, they both like to run the ball. SMU at Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech gave Mississippi State all it could handle on the road. SMU is a very similar team, but they have to go into Ruston. I think Louisiana Tech has an outside shot to upset and win here, but I love the 12.5. And maybe the under. If Louisiana Tech plays defense, the under's in play. Mississippi State at Memphis. I like Memphis. Mississippi State has not impressed in their first two games. This game is going to be very close. Memphis is a 3-point underdog. I would love it at 3.5. Don't know about the total. Utah at San Diego State. San Diego State has been impressive so far. They're getting 8.5 at home against Utah, a team that just lost to BYU. I like 8.5, especially because the total's 44. That's like 20%, over 20% of the total, or about 20% of the total. That's a lot of points for a total that low. So I really like San Diego State there. Virginia at UNC. North Carolina lost to Virginia Tech in what was essentially a home game in Charlotte. Now they're playing in Chapel Hill. I like Virginia to win that division in the ACC. They have a very, very good defense, getting 7.5. And I like the under here. I think Virginia's defense is very good. If both offenses run well, it'll probably go over. But if Virginia plays the defense I think they're going to play, it's going to be under. And then Oklahoma State at Boise State, minus 3.5, 57.5. I think that Oklahoma State has a chance to win this outright. It's tough to play in Boise, but this is a very good Oklahoma State team. I'm not saying they're better than Oklahoma, but I think they definitely can compete with Boise State. And getting the 3.5, I think, is worth it there. And then finally, I decided to review the CFL games this week. After these games, we're halfway through the season. Stampeders at Tiger Cats. Bo Levi Mitchell, the starting Stampeders quarterback, is back. The starting quarterback for the Tiger Cats is out, but their backup is very good, Dane Evans. I think he's actually better. This is going to be a very close game. I do like the over here. Argos at Rough Riders. The Rough Riders starting quarterback left with concussion protocol last game. If he is not playing, take the Argos. This game is tonight. If Cody Fajardo is out for Saskatchewan, take the Argos, especially at +4. BC Lions at Alouettes. The Alouettes are coming off a bye at home. I feel like this is a very good spot for them. They've had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. They have a good defense. I like them minus 2.5 here, and I like the under. And then Saturday night, the Blue Bombers at the Edmonton Elks. Elks +7, 43. The Elks quarterback is Trevor Harris. He is questionable. If he does not play tomorrow, the Elks are going to get whitewashed here. I would take the Blue Bombers minus the 7 because if Trevor Harris is out, it's going to minus 13 or minus 14. So if you want to, get it now and then take the other side, if that does happen, you can always do that. But I do, if Trevor Harris does play and he is healthy enough to play, I kind of like the over here. But if he doesn't play, I don't at all. The Blue Bombers have only give up 12.5 points per game. So anyway, that's how I feel about the CFL this week. So let's run over. So let's get right to my picks. I'm taking the Saints minus 3.5 at +100. I'm going to take the Arizona Cardinals at home minus 4. And the Cowboys at SoFi Stadium against the Chargers +3.5. And then in college football, I'm going to take Virginia against UNC, North Carolina, +7.5. And then I'm going to take Saturday, Montreal Alouettes. That's actually minus 2.5, not +2.5. But those are my picks this week. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you found those betting tools useful. We'll have another sportsbook lesson next week. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy your weekend of football. And I'm going to play the outro music for you. So let's do that. And let's get some winners, everybody. Take care, folks.